Okay, tutorial time. Adam, thanks for showing up. Anybody else just arriving? Welcome. Monday, tutorial day. Today, we are going to do some anti-voxels. I kind of regret developing that word, but this is a technique that I invented in alpha, and other people have done some adjustments and made it better here and there. But the whole thing starts with a 5 by 5 square and a hole in the center. You select this and extrude it out so that it's a 5 by 5 by 5 cube with like a tunnel through it. Hey, I'm glad you guys got them. I put them to good use. They're going to be very, very rare very, very soon. So then I'm going to select the whole box with the hole through it. So you can see there's a hole through it, one voxel hole. Select the whole box and get out my smooth tool. I'm going to hit it 4 times with the smooth tool, and you can do it a different number of times to make it the thickness you want. What I did here, now I selected only the middle panel there. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste that with a Control-C and Control-V if you wanted to know. And Gizander, thank you for following. I really appreciate it. No worries, Poro. Yeah, you can continue to troll me. So you can see that there's this little hole, and it changes the area around it. So what I did was I pulled the outside corners of the box. Icy Hot, hey, how's it going? Good to see you again. I pulled the outside corners of the voxels around into the center with the smooth tool, which made some pretty interesting shapes. Now there's a problem that I can't select it, right? I can move it. I can move the selection box with Shift, and I can try to copy that and paste it. When you try to copy and paste voxel holding air, you don't have a reference point to see it, so you can't copy and paste it. But real quick, I'm going to make a wall. So I made this wall. I'm going to paint it so that it's easier to see. I'm going to paint it with stucco. Stucco is really good for demonstrations. So what I'm going to do to make sure that I want to copy that, and I want to paste the holes here to make a pattern. So what I can do is with the Add tool, I want to place a block not on top of it, but one removed. So I'm going to hold down Shift when I click and go into tweak mode, and I'm going to place it there. Crisabel is my newest in-game friend. Awesome. So now I have this block and a space and the hole behind it. I'm going to select the 3 by 1 by 1 selection, including the block and the hole. I can copy that and paste it. I can come over here and I can use the block as a reference point to paste the hole in the wall. You can see on this side, there's the hole. Now I can come back and I can paste it, and I can draw. So I'm making this square here. I'll go over what I did at the very end there in a second. And I can select this out and delete it, and I've made this really thin square by drawing with the tiny holes. Why do you try? How's it going? Yeah, I'm going to do a putty thing in a minute. So I did that, and it was a little bit weird, and it was kind of wonky because I had the solid block. Now I'm going to delete that block, and instead of using the block, I'm going to use a micro-voxel. I'm going to take that, because the way the holes work, they work just like microvoxels. If you don't know what a microvoxel is, that's okay, and I'm not going to go over that today, but definitely if you want to learn that, hit me up in-game and add me as a friend, come hang out, and we got plenty of people and throughout the Layspring community and some other organizations in-game to help you learn. So because I put the microvoxel here, the microvoxel is going, and I selected it just like I did with the block, the microvoxel is going to act in the same way as the holes that I'm putting in the wall. So you see how when I place the microvoxel, it's creating the line, and the line is the same as what's in the wall. And if I go down, it makes that little angle, and it shows it in front of it. So I now have a guide and a reference for placing. I've actually, for my bar that I've made, I created what I call chisels, which not only work like the microvoxels do there, but they're directional, so I know if I'm trying to rotate it. And on my other claim, when I go over there, anyone can copy this, anyone can make a template of this. It's not proprietary or anything. It's just for people to have. So I'm going to copy that and paste it, and so I can see where it's pointing. It's got that directional arrow, so I know where the hole is as I'm rotating it. So I can line it up, and I can make the hole there. And it's still interacting in the same way. Now, one of my favorite shapes to make with this, if I go over here, starting here, I'm making an octagon. And then you see how that last part made a funny angle? But then I'm going to hit every other corner. Delete off my little frame that I made. And with this, you can make nice things like this square framed within an octagon. And there are lots of different things that you can do with that. This is only the beginning. If you were to visit somebody like Noodle Cat, she's probably the best at using this technique at really filling things up or making cool stuff. Now, I want to move on to a new technique that I just learned. I was taught by Schrodinger Cat, and she developed it with Mythesque. Oh, by the way, I try to make sure that I always credit the people who teach me things, so I don't feel like I'm taking somebody else's creation and making people think that it's my own. This anti-voxel etching thing, I developed that, but what I'm doing now, that wasn't mine. I just learned it. So I'm going to delete this over here. This technique is used to fill in spaces without adjusting the shape of the voxel. Now let me show you, I'm going to fill in the square here. Let me show you what happens when I try to fill in a space just by adding a square. I need to change the texture. Just in case people don't know. So I put in and it changed everything to the shape of the square around it instead of filling the hole. So this, what they're calling the putty technique, is it's a way to fill the hole without forcing it into the shape of a square. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm underground right now, and as far as I know, this only works underground. I'm going to make a selection, and I'm going to heal it. So I healed it, and I have this pristine healed dirt. Now I'm going to make a selection 3 deep, and I'm going to move it into the middle. And I'm going to paint. Oh, if you press Alt while you have the paint tool up, you get this little eyedropper, and you can change your texture if you didn't know. If anybody doesn't know, now you do. So I have a 3 by 1 by 1, and I'm going to paint that. So I painted a little bit of a tunnel in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the selection so that I only have the one that's the deepest in. And I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it. So see, I've got a little block. And I don't know why. I like to know why, but here I don't. But now, when I paste that, it fills in any gap. And that is the putty technique. Which is a lot easier than some of the older inlaying techniques that we've done. Now, if we have a negative of something, we can fill it up without having to do a whole lot of extra steps at all. Now, yeah, Crisabel says in game it contains only texture data since healed dirt has no form data. That is a very good way of describing it, I think. I'm going to see now if I can template it. I have not attempted this, so I'm going to create a template, and I'm going to call it just, create new, take a screenshot, putty, create. I see how it's here. Lots of people hanging out. I'm going to move to a different claim where we can all play around with this stuff if anybody wants. Now, I'm going to test to see if a template of it works. Search my templates for putty place. Oh, got it. So now I have a template of this that I can use forever. That's